JD here, and today we've got this. This is the JJRC H20H. Right, let's open her up and have a little look. And this is everything that you get in the box. So you get the hexacopter, you get the transmitter, you get the manual, as well as two batteries. One's already in the hexacopter and a spare battery there as well as you get a little accessory pack as well. Right, let's just tidy this up a little bit. Okay, so long time viewers of the channel will recognise this particular quadcopter, this particular hexacopter. This is the updated version of the JJRC H20. The H in this particular model just stands for high hold mode, as this is the major change in this particular hexacopter. Whereas the H20 didn't have altitude hold, this one does. Right, look at this. It looks really nice. So it's got that yellow and black nice sort of bee look to it, and with the two blue eyes at the front, it looks quite insectoid, quite bee-like. So let's start off at the front. So at the front, what do we have? We have two LEDs. Working back from that, we just have a very nicely styled body of the quadcopter where it comes up, nice little dome at the front and then kicks off to the back. We have two yellow propellers at the front, and then we have four black propellers to the middle and back. The yellow propellers at the front denotes the front. If you can't see the LEDs on the front, these white yellow propellers stand out quite a lot in flight, and then the black propellers just denote the back of the quadcopter as well. So if we turn this around, you'll see that the battery is already plugged in. Let's just use the on and off button and let's turn her on. So we get red LEDs to the back and we get blue LEDs to the front there. Let's knock that off. Now, if we turn the hexacopter over, you will see we have a little battery inside here. Now, this is one of the two pairs of batteries that you have. This battery is 150 milliamp hour, 3.7 volts. So it'll roughly take you between 40 and 50 minutes to charge, and you should get 5 to 7 minutes of flight out of this. Now, bearing in mind there are two, so if you were to charge them individually, then you could have up to 14 minutes of flight off this particular hexacopter. And then keeping our eye on the underneath, we don't really have much in the way of landing sprigs, but we do have a little domed bit of plastic on the bottom here, which feels a little bit thick, and I imagine that it will actually protect you a little bit, but don't be surprised if these do get scratched up after you land them. And then you will notice in the bottom of the landing sprigs, they are cut out slightly just for some air to travel around these motors, as there are 6 of them. Let's flip that over. That is the hexacopter. It looks really sweet. But how much does it weigh? Without the battery, we have a weight coming in at 16 grams. And then let's just pop a JJRC battery in the back of it. And with that, we have 21 grams. So flying weight is 21 grams. That's really quite remarkable. Now, this is an indoor-outdoor hexacopter, but what I would say is do not take it out in any high winds or any wind over about 4 miles an hour, or you may have a bit of an issue with this. Alright, let's look at the transmitter. Okay, so let's have a little look at this transmitter. So this transmitter looks a lot like the original transmitter, apart from we do have altitude hold there, and this just denoted by this left analog stick just flicking back to the middle. Now, some of the buttons, obviously we have the on and off button here, sliding on and off. Then we have some trim buttons around the bottom for roll, yaw and pitch trim. Then if we go on to the two shoulder buttons, we have short, push to shift gears. Now there are 3 speed modes, and for that you want to be pushing the left shoulder button, and then on the right one here, if you push it and then directional push with your right analog stick, the hexacopter will do 3D flips. This flips to 4 points forwards, left, right and back, so there's going to be no issues there with not being able to flip this particular quadcopter. And likewise, to calibrate the gyro, what you would do is you would push both of the analog sticks into the bottom right hand corner, but I go through that in the flight as well in a couple of minutes. Also included in this package, you get a USB charger, a little screwdriver there as well as 6 extra propellers, 2 yellow ones and 4 black ones, and then of course we get the spare battery. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to plug her in. We're going to get her set up and get her ready to go. So plugging in the battery is a bit of a tricky step with quite large hands. Okay, single one up and one down to bind when the quadcopter is on. Then you should have both of your LEDs are completely solid like this. From this point, then we're going to calibrate the gyro. So bring both of, there we are, the analog sticks down to the bottom right. You'll see the LED flashing on the JJRC. Let's try it again. There we go, and you'll hear a little beep. That's just letting you know the gyro is being calibrated. From this point, then we can use one key takeoff and we can take her up. So the one key takeoff is just to push down this left analog stick here. And then what we're going to do is going to go up to a particular altitude and then we're going to throttle up and just raise that altitude ever so slightly. So with this, let's do it. Oh, this is a nippy little thing. Alright, so we are up. And this thing is quite nippy. As the hexacopter goes, the JJRC H20 range have been around for a long time, and they still are really good little copters. Okay, speed mode 2 beeps using the left shoulder button there, and she kicks in, she gets a little bit quicker. She's dropping altitude a bit though. Let's just have a little look at her for a second and see why she's dropping. Maybe because I'm too low. Okay, let's take her up a little bit. 3 beeps, speed mode 3, and then she is so easy to twist. Look at this. She just twists around so simply in circles. Back to speed mode 1. Quadcopter comes back from a 45-degree angle back to about maybe 6 or 7 degrees. She's really quite nice. I'm going to try and see if I can hold her quite close to me, because I know these nanocopters are quite difficult to see, and I don't want her getting too far away, so somewhere you can't see her. But she seems really good. Now, I do notice it is quite difficult to see the LEDs, and it's also quite difficult at quite a pace to see what particular direction she is pointing. What makes it easier when you have her quite low is you can see the yellow propellers. But when you have her quite high like this, it's a little bit difficult. It would be a lot better if the propeller guards rather, were yellow as well. Perhaps that would be a little bit easier to see. The LEDs aren't very bright. I can see the red one flashing, which lets me know exactly where the back is, but I can't see the blue one for the front. Okay, let's leave her up at a bit of altitude. But don't forget, we only get 5 minutes of flight time from this guy. He flies quite well. He's not screamingly loud either. And today we've got a 2-mile-an-hour breeze coming in from my right, and that doesn't seem to be bothering him at all in speed mode 1. Let's up him to speed mode 2 a little bit here. Let's bank him around a bit. Oh, he's so easy to manoeuvre. So easy to manoeuvre indeed. Dropping in altitude is just because we have a lot of puddles around here, and I think when I'm too low it's sensing that the pressure may be a bit different over the puddles, possibly. I'm not saying that's 100% what it is, but I'm just going by the fact that as I'm up quite nice and high, here, we don't seem to be affected. But as soon as I bring her down a little bit lower, then she seems to want to keep on coming lower. So if I just keep her at quite a nice little altitude, then I find that that doesn't bother me. Which is again, the same sort of altitude as what I'd be keeping her in the house as well. So it's not a little bit... It's not too low, it's not too high, it's just sort of right, I think, for a little gentle flight. See, she's dipped a little bit there, maybe because I've gone a bit too low. Let's take her back up. See, one thing I've always found with the hexacopters, and it's the H20 and the MGX bugs range, doesn't matter what hexacopter we've looked at over the years, I always find that they fly so much nicer, just because of those 6 propellers there. Okay, so I think we're losing a little bit of battery, so I think it's about time that I cut to John in the house. Thanks, John. Okay, what we're going to do now is just turn everything on again, and we're going to go through the same process as we did outside. Once everything is bound, let's just calibrate those gyros. Alright, now let's take her up. So once again, left thumbstick depressed. Have the left, if you push in the left analog stick there, the throttle analog stick, then you will just start the motors, then you can just take off up to an altitude using that left throttle then just to push up. And she is really nice. Okay, so let's, if I can bring her back a little bit, let's just look at this altitude hold stability for the second. Look at that. Beautiful. She is altering a little bit. Oh, this is, just so much fun. It's really good indoors, it's really good outdoors. This is a good indoor-outdoor hexacopter.